If I could get everyone's attention. Oh, look at all these beautiful black and brown faces. Y'all look gorgeous. Thank you so much for coming out. On behalf of the Busy Boys, we really, really do appreciate it. I do want to pull your attention to the poster right beside the TV. That QR code, if you scan it, it will allow you to subscribe to our channel if you aren't already. And we are also having a raffle today. One ticket is $5, and it gets you a chance to come feature on our show. So it's a one-of-a-kind thing, and I hope you guys will take us up on this offer. And now I'm going to pass it over to Sakani, and he's going to walk us through the panel.
I'm doing this from my phone because I don't have a teleprompter yet. With this event, we want to highlight Black and brown LGBTQ+ artists from different walks of life, backgrounds, and art forms, because so many of us are killing it out here, but constantly being overlooked. We have to create opportunities and space, or it'll never happen for us. So without further ado, let me introduce you guys to our moderator, Ja, for the first panel. Clap it up. And then let's have Devontae Holly. Clap it up. Darian Deshawn. And Antoine Wright.
All right, John. So I'm gonna start just by introducing myself for anybody here. I think I'm having some. Oh, okay, maybe not. So I just want to introduce myself for anybody here who doesn't know who I am. My name is Ja. I'm obviously a part of Busy Boys, and I am a rap artist. That is the main thing I do. I dabble in graphic design and video editing, but primarily rap is my focus as art. And I want to give you guys a chance to introduce yourselves and what you do.
Okay. So my name is Darian Stewart. I am a multimedia artist. I'm a painter, graphic designer, make clothes. Just all full around artist, and mostly painting though.
I think he's checking on it now.
Hi guys, I'm Devontae. I'm your publicist's favorite publicist. I specialize in celebrity and influencer PR.
Hi guys, I'm Antoine Wright. I go by the name of Answer Your Pants, and I'm a painter, and only a painter, nothing else.
So my first question for everybody is going to be, what is the inspiration behind what you do?
So the inspiration of my work I would say is a navigation of the Black and brown community, the queer Black body navigating through spaces, parties, underground parties, and just representation of the queer body and capturing the essence and beauty in Black queerness.
I feel like what really truly inspired me to continue doing PR was just being able to champion for people that look like me, people that talk like me, people that walk like me. Because as you guys know, especially in fashion, before the pandemic, this whole inclusivity thing really wasn't a thing. So me starting at a white company like Tommy Hilfiger and having to be the Black voice in every room, now I feel like I'll take that and that is my journey now. Like, I want to speak for all of us so we all can have this opportunity at some time. So.
Well, I'm gonna give that to y'all. Y'all trying to eat that. I'll say what inspires me is like everyday life, just growing up from my youth and just trying to navigate life of being just like an openly Black gay man and just trying to experience life as it is without, overthinking it and making it much bigger than what the world has basically tried to create for us.
All right, so what are some of the things that you guys were able to achieve, and how do you feel that you were able to achieve them?
Some of my achievements that I'm proud of is one, graduating with my master's degree from Parsons School of Art and Design. So that was really an experience going through that. And then also pursuing art in a way that I can start applying to residency. So having a residency here on Governor's Island at Art Crawl Harlem this fall is going to be really exciting. And then I would say also a big accomplishment, I would say here recently getting a painting and selling it to, tracking down RuPaul pretty much and presenting him a painting and getting it to West Hollywood for RuPaul. So I was really excited for that, and it just keeps me motivated to keep pushing more.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Trying to turn this mic
I think most recently, it's not going to work. Most recently, it would have to be Met Gala. So I have been in this space for about 10 years now, but this past Met was my first season actually leading the conversation. So, you know, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, but I have a client, Willie Chavarria, who is a Mexican-American queer designer, and he entrusted me to lead his whole VIP team for Met Gala. So we took Coleman Domingo, Morgan Spector, and Leon Bridges, and it was everything from me doing the contracts, finding these guys, helping with the sketches, and getting them on the carpet. So, you know, I feel like right now it's nothing much that can top that for me.
That's dope. I love it.
What was the question again?
Oh, what are some things that you achieved?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Is this better?
Yes.
Okay, so my most recent greatest accomplishment in like my whole little art career was I recently painted on some pieces for Shea Coulee during her Love Ball tour. And then I had previously did a mural in the Brooklyn, I can't even think of the place, but I think it's the Youth Prevention Center. And I'm not from here, I'm from Connecticut, so what I do appreciate about the city of New York is that I felt like I've always been more embraced here compared to where I'm from, because it's a lot smaller and they don't really pay attention to guys like me. So to come here and to get that type of recognition, it just feels like really like, okay, well, maybe I'm doing something. So those are my biggest accomplishments so far.
Well, y'all are definitely doing y'all thing. Everybody's well accomplished. So what advice would you give to the person coming up behind you?
I would say just moving from small town America and Arkansas, like just keep pushing, keep shooting for, like don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't do something, and just like keep just believing in your dreams and the goals at the end of the day, and where you're trying to get at.
Yeah, piggybacking off of that, like never take no for an answer. I don't know how many times in my career I've been told no, and having those people that told me no, look at them now.
I think consistency and also like just being true to yourself and always playing on that, and just when you step into a room, just learn how to just be yourself. I just think that works.
Okay. So my next question for you guys is, how do you feel that social media has impacted your journey?
Everybody thinks they can do it. Social media has cut out the middleman, and I am the middleman as a publicist. Everybody doesn't think they need us anymore, but you really do.
I felt that response. Okay, what about you guys?
I would say it just helps me get the work out there more. Being in New York, it's kind of hard getting into galleries, so social media really has helped push my work out there. in different states and just across just different platforms has really helped get the work out there in DC more.
I think I have my takes on social media, but social media can be good or bad, depending on how you use it. I feel like it definitely is a good tool to market yourself and put yourself out there. But for me as an artist, now if I feel more now that I have to be a content creator, and I'm just a painter. I would rather just sit and paint. Now I have to learn how to make reels and do all this extra shit that I really don't care to do. But it's the only way you're gonna get seen. So that's how I see things now.
Yeah, I feel like I have the same relationship with social media. I love how connected it can make all of us, but I also just feel like it takes away from the artistry for everybody a little bit because you're trying to compete with the algorithm. You're just trying to keep up with what social media is, you know? And it takes away from just the art that you're trying to create and the main thing that you want people to pay attention to. So my next question is, what keeps you guys motivated in making art?
I would say what keeps me pretty motivated is I have a 10-year-old daughter that lives back home in Arkansas, so like always pushing for her has really helped me here in New York being so far away. And being able to provide when I am so far away has really helped me push in my artist career. Yeah, she's just like the biggest motivation I could possibly ever feel. Yeah, it's just amazing.
That's real.
I don't have kids like kids. I feel like mine is just seeing more of us in the conference rooms, in the offices, in the spaces that I'm in. Like literally the only reason I'm still doing everything that I do.
Mine is, I would say, life, and just striving to show people that it's okay to show that you are not like everyone else, and that you also have a gift, and you should utilize it to your best advantage.
Dope, you guys. Okay, so my last question before we get to the Q&A is, does your sexuality play a part into your art, and if so, how?
I would say yes, it does play a part into my art. It's very related to just queer blackness. Sometimes I'll feature a lot of people around the community in New York, or just from different walks of life, like musicians, just any type of people who I've kind of seen out and about.
Yeah, you guys, he painted this painting behind you.
And even like just putting myself in the paintings and like moving through these different spaces with the rest of the community. So definitely, yeah, sexuality is definitely part of the work.
Yeah.
And of reading.
I mean, I feel like it plays a role in everything that I do, from the way I get dressed to who I want to work with, who I speak with, who I invite to events. I mean, I feel like I would be lying if I said my sexuality didn't, weigh over my whole life.
Right. Mm-hmm. I agree.
I'm right there. I'm gonna leave it right there.
Yeah, I feel like I want to be the person that I didn't have growing up. I just want to be that person. Like, I want a young gay black person to see me and be like, I can do that. Or like, I never saw somebody doing that. I now know that I can do that. So I think that it's all about that for me. Like, it's all about that representation.
Right.
So now we're gonna bring it to a Q&A for the audience. If you guys have any questions for our panelists here, does anybody want to start?
Yeah.
In the corner over here?
Sure. My question is pretty simple. One of you talked about being in a room that you didn't necessarily feel like you belonged in. And as I'm thinking about my students, I'm often thinking about like imposter syndrome and feeling like, once you quote unquote are making it, that you don't belong, that you're kind of faking the funk. What would be your words to them, queer youth in particular, to encourage them to continue the path, to not feel discouraged, and to believe in their gifts and their talents and to continue on?
Honestly, people are only going to believe in you as much as you believe in yourself. So as long as you have that confidence that you can do anything that you want to do, honestly, like when I go into these rooms or these meetings, the one thing about PR and that I love about it, I don't need facts, I don't need numbers, I need passion. So as long as I can speak to it and I know what I'm talking about, I can convince you. And I'll do it with a smile on my face.
Yeah.
Anybody else have a response? There we go.
I have more of a question about just like what do you guys think about pulling from the side? Like letting people that are your equivalent that do just as much as you do, how do you get them in the door? And what are your opinions about getting them in the door? Because I feel like when selected people get through the door, they just kind of like to gatekeep, and they don't want to pull, not from the side or from the up or below or anything. So I'm just wondering, like, what are your opinions on that? How, if you have, how have you pulled from the side?
Well, I think for me, like, community is such a big part of, I feel like, everything I do in New York. So I've just come across opportunities that were just not for me, you know, and it's like, I'm not even going to go for it anyways. I've come across opportunities I could go for and I still told other people, but it's like, I just think it's all about, like, everything isn't for you, you know, and I think we all know somebody here who might be able to do something that we're not good at, or, you know, everybody in New York, I feel like, is an artist to some extent, or they do something creative. So I just think it's all about just, like, having community, having, like, people you fuck with. I don't even think you have to have the greatest friendship or anything, but it's just like, yo, you do this, I know you're good at that. If I hear of an opportunity and I can plug you in, I will.
Right. And I mean, like, coming from the PR side of it, I mean, I have so many of my friends that are publicists, Black publicists, and it's just, at the end of the day, if I need a contact, if they need a contact, if I have a better relationship with somebody, we all help each other out. Because at the end of the day, it just makes Black publicists all look better, you know? Not the Black publicists you see on, like, Love and Hip Hop. Like, we are actually out here working and behind a lot of these cultural moments that people don't know about.
Any other questions? Right.
I believe that all African descendants come up with their own definition for Black. It's something that I've seen. So my question to you all is, what does Black mean to you?
That's deep.
I think free. Being Black just means to be free, to be, because, you know, they try to, like, keep us so, like, isolated or just, like, boxed in, but to just be Black and just be out and just be proud of who you are as a Black individual, I just think it's just to be free, be yourself.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, being Black is just, I just think it's the best. I just think it's the bar.
It doesn't
Like, I just think it's the best. I feel like I love being Black. Like, there are plenty of things I would change about myself, but being Black is not one of them. And I think just everything we've overcome, like all the stories we hear, like, I'm like really into documentaries. I just watched like the Black Barbie documentary the other day.
Too.
And it's just like we always overcome the hurdles, you know. We still have so many things to like fight for our rights even in this day, but we don't give up. I think like being Black is being resilient, it's power. I just think it's the best thing. Y'all good?
For me, being Black, I would say definitely is very rooted with like being connected to culture, empowerment. I love like just the empowerment and the essence behind being Black and what that comes with, and how you can turn that into. It's like a constant motivation to like just keep pushing and again like fighting for our rights and such.
I mean, Black for me, like you said, it's resilience, it's perseverance, it's freedom, but it's also like we are the beginning, we are the end, we are the middle, we are the culture, we are everything. They get everything from us. So who else would I want to be at this point, you know? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
So I follow each of you guys individually. I love the dedication to your craft and what you guys create. I guess my biggest question is, I feel as artists, with each piece that you create or anything that you do, you're leaving something behind for the next generation. So where do you guys see yourself and what you do in the next 10, 15 years?
Well, I know with the podcast, me and the boys want to win a daytime Emmy. That's like so we definitely we want to take it to television at one point. I know my music. I just want to be like a pioneer for other gay black artists. You know, I feel like we have really big gay black artists, but they ain't me. So I just feel like, you know, I just want to represent for other black boys like myself.
I would say I see myself definitely like showcasing more artwork, hopefully here in New York in galleries. I want like museum contracts, Art Basel, international residencies, and just keep along this my artist career path to like just keep pushing. There's literally no limits. So yeah, just whatever I can achieve in this lifetime.
Y'all are crazy. I don't see myself working in the next 10 years. I'm retired in Connecticut with my little family. No, but seriously speaking, no, I would love to just, start consulting. So I'm, not tied to one agency or brand, but just able to come in wherever I'm needed and give the wisdom that I have to the next generation.
I think I want to go into the space of mentoring kids that have gifts and that are trying to figure out how to make their gifts happen for themselves. So I think that's something that I want to be able to do, to sit down and take each kid on and try to just guide them, because that's not something that I had. So that's what I hope to see myself doing in 10 years. I don't know.
So we're gonna introduce our next panelist with DeMonte leading. Diamond Barlow.
Yeah.
Marlon Turner. And Kadar Small.
Okay, so thank you guys for being here, by the way. Clap it up for them again, y'all. So, honestly, all you guys are really inspiring, and you guys all do amazing work, so I'm just really happy that you're here, and yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit, get into some things. Y'all gotta introduce yourselves. What do y'all do?
Okay.
Absolutely. So, go ahead, Diamond.
All right. Well, my name is Diamond. I'm a dancer and also choreograph on the side.
My name is Marlon Turner. I'm a photographer and also studio director.
My name is Kadar Small. I'm a photographer and director and casting director.
And I'm DeMonte. I dance, choreograph, direct, movement direct, all the things. So as an artist, as we're all artists, I feel one of the main things is when we finish our work, and if it ever finishes, and knowing when that is and how do we navigate when it's a finished product and what does that look like for us as an artist. So when do you feel like your work is officially done, like your project or whatever you're working on?
Okay, yeah. So for me, when I feel like my work is completely finished is when I feel completely confident within my movements, within my steps. When I just feel 100% prepared for a performance. So from the movements to my face to everything. Yeah, that's my answer. And also I'll add no longer having angst for the performance, but more or less having excitement is what makes me know that I'm actually comfortable and ready.
For me, some people might know it's never done, to be honest. I'm constantly reviewing and redoing and reamping my work. I would say just in the moment when I feel like this works, this is where I'm going, and I don't limit myself to that being the end point. So the work is there, the digital files are there, the film files, whatever I'm doing, I can always go back and relook at my work and revamp it. So knowing that it doesn't have to be an end, you can always restructure.
Absolutely.
Well, for me, my photography style is documentary, so I already spend quite a bit of time with each series. But I know that it's particularly done after I write a thesis for my series, which is normally the thing I do, just so it overly makes sense. And after that, I invite a close group of friends and colleagues to critique it a little bit, because I also believe when it comes to photography, and you're also telling your story and other people's stories, that you need other people's opinions as well.
Yeah.
So those are the things that I do.
Absolutely. I feel like that's important too, just because for me, when I'm choreographing or directing something, I'm always thinking, okay, I could do something different as far as a shift, and that creates a whole different dynamic as far as the intention behind the storytelling and whatever you're trying to do as far as presentation wise. So I feel like the work is never really fully done, to be honest. But it's good when you can step back from it and take a second for yourself and then do what you got to do. So after that, during the process of that, how do you find inspiration with whatever work you're working on as far as creation, performing?
Does anybody else want to go first?
Okay, I'll jump in so we don't have to go live. So I put a lot of inspiration like from like a lot of different things. Like I pull inspiration from like the internet, from like life experiences especially. I just like when it comes to art in general, I like to think of myself like a child. So just in awe of everything, because I feel like you can find inspiration in like literally everything, no matter if it's like little or big. So like those are like the ways to like find inspiration, just like literally everything. Like even old magazines, it's like a big thing I'm a big fan of.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can go. For me, I find inspiration honestly within music. Those really undertone beats within the music really inspires me to just create, and I'm always really thinking. Beyond that, I watch a lot of music videos, concerts online, like from top to bottom, really just studying, I would say. So within studying, I do get inspired. And then on top of that, I also really get inspired by my peers. Like when I'm in class and I'm like just watching other people perform and dance, you can really learn a lot from other people just expressing themselves. So.
For me, because I work in portraiture, I'm really inspired by the individual that I photograph. I'm also a Pinterest hoe. Like I will go on Pinterest very quick, and not to steal and thieve. You know, like you should look at it and take like 0.0001% of inspiration and rework it and move on. You know, but just in general, moving through life, like walking outside and I'm like, oh, that's a cute mural, or like seeing a painting or seeing a new editorial that's released. So yeah.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with all of you guys. It's just important to recognize how we do things, and even your everyday life thing, it can turn into a whole different piece or setting, as I said before. So yeah, it's really inspiring to just go out and just experience life, and that can also create something too. So with that, in the creation process, you know, I feel when we deep dive into something like really heavily, we also experience like a lot of blockages, and with that, it creates a different kind of dynamic as far as how we go in and out of that. So how do you experience, if you have experienced creative blockages, how do you get out of that?
Yeah, experienced a lot of creative blockages. But how I really get out of that is just when those times come up, just understanding what feelings fuel that. And for me personally, just to be transparent, like sometimes, somebody actually mentioned it in here, but just like imposter syndrome or sometimes like a lack of self-confidence can low-key play into why you might be creatively blocked. But what I really found out that really works for me is really just giving that angst and that stress to God, like, because I can't handle it on my own.
Okay.
So just giving it to Him, like, you know, within that you won't have any fear or anxiety. And so that's really how I've gotten past this whole like self-confidence thing and just a creative blockage, and actually really reigniting my fuel and passion for dance. So
I feel like when it comes to creative blockage, like in general, I feel like if you're black and you're creative, we all kind of going through that, just because like when you enter in spaces and stuff, you have your own insecurities. So for my creative blockage, like especially for like someone that deals with like anxiety and like social anxiety and depression and stuff, I usually like try to like stay active. So like if I'm stuck on like a series, or if I'm stuck on like just like anything creatively, I'm like moving around. I feel like when you're constantly moving around, it kind of helps the mind be active.
Mm-hmm.
So like if that means like taking like a walk outside, because like
Right.
I love bedside, so just like taking that walk outside is just really nice. Found like inspiration from that, and also just like talking to my friends and really connecting with them, and like let me put this to the side and like let me get back to life.
Right.
And like out of that like whole experience, just like chopping it up with my boys and chopping it up with my friends and stuff, that like usually it always comes back. I'm like, okay, I'm good. Like, it's okay to put things back down and like come back to it the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, y'all, I'm hot. Hold on. I would say for me, like when I have a block that means rest. Like, I used to just try to pummel through it and work through and knock the wall down, but rest is so important. We're so used to hearing about hustle and bustle and like, you got to figure it out, but I calm down, I put the camera down, I put all of the things down, and I give time to myself. So when I allow myself to recharge, then everything comes flooding back in for me. So
yeah, I feel that way too. It's really interesting having like the creative blocks because it kind of like sets you up. It not sets you up for failure, but it sets you up for success to like get past it.
Mm-hmm.
And then even with that, I feel once you get past it, so much more can erupt inside of you as far as like you get more fuel for whatever you're trying to do, and you come back bigger and better. So yeah, I like taking steps away too. Like just like leave it alone, leave it where it's at, and when I get to it, I get to it.
Exactly.
But it'll get done eventually.
Yeah. Break it up into pieces if you need to.
Absolutely.
And I agree with all you guys, and also just want to add to like sometimes as humans in life we just tell ourselves lies all the time. Like a lot of our thoughts are not our thoughts, and it's just a matter of if we want to believe them or not. So just keeping that in mind and top of mind as well.
Absolutely. Mindfulness.
Yeah.
So as we get older, even as kids, I started dancing when I was young. I've always been in performing arts. Like I did the cello, I did theater, dance, all the things, and even like sports at one point, but that didn't last long.
Well, dance is a sport.
Well, yes, we are athletes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. So, with that being said, I would love to know did your parents support your artistic choices as far as taking it as a career path, and what did that look like for you?
My mom fought me on becoming a photographer, as most of y'all who know me in here know. And because I wanted to be a zoologist, I love science, that's what I wanted to do. And she was like, no, you're going to work for yourself, you're going to be a photographer. I was like, what? And she did it from like, since I was 6 on up. She always kept a camera in my hand, she always pushed me, and she knew, because here I am. So,
Yeah.
You're doing the thing.
Yeah, my mother has supported me since forever. Like she showed up to every performance. Like as well as Tay, I've done the flute, the piano. She's been there for every recital. So she's just been very supportive of my artistic endeavors. I will say I went to school for fashion, and those loans are real. And so on the flip side of that, she's also been very present. And it's like, well, you need a job that's going to pay for those student loans. You need a job that you went to school for. So I have that balance. Like she really does feel this way, but she also really supports me like 100%. So it's a mom.
Well, I have a little different story from y'all. I'm Caribbean, so from Trinidad. So like my parents was very much like I literally was supposed to be going to school to be an entertainment lawyer, and like the second option was to be a doctor. Like it was literally no in between. So like I played soccer for Mississippi State University my first year, and then transferred to FIT, and then told my parents, and it was like, oh yeah, I'm going back home to New York. So that's kind of how it happened. So for me, like it was very much like I think this is a hobby. I think you need to find something that's going to be more secure, because like a big thing in our culture is security. But then as soon as they saw like the articles come through, and then when they saw me on the Verizon commercial, and they start seeing the publication, they said, oh, like this is really your calling. So I'll step back and like I really support you. So I feel like once my parents saw me like really go to London for an exhibit, for a show, and it was like, oh yeah, it's paid for, like I got it and everything, they were like, oh, okay, so you're doing it. So now my mom is like always calling me, asking me like, what is up? Like, what's the next assignment? So I'm like, yeah.
And it always feels good too, and it's really affirming having like your parents really support your work, because everyone doesn't have that luxury, sadly.
Yeah.
But even maybe not parents, but guardians we all have, and they could have been the ones that really acknowledged our artwork. Like even it could have been an aunt or something that really saw it in you, and that motivated you to keep going. So yeah, it's tricky to navigate, because my dad, he still has a hard time trying to accept what I be doing. But even trying to navigate with career-wise, like as far as like what I want to do versus what I got to do, as Domin said, like you got to have a 9 to 5, because babe, I got to eat.
Right.
And that just comes with the work. But Mama T always supports everything. So.
Yeah.
So another question with this would be, does sexuality play into your art, and how so? If it does.
Yeah. I would say probably like up until maybe 2 weeks ago or even like a month ago, it definitely didn't at all. So like, not at all. But with the so what happened to me? Well, 2 weeks ago, I joined this group called Masters at Work, and they're primarily made up of LGBTQ plus individuals. And literally just before this event, I was out performing at a Bronx Pride parade. So like, that's where I do feel like my sexuality may be showing up within my art, but I do not believe that like my sexuality is a label within my art, because within dance I just believe it's a space for expression and it's just freedom. So.
Powerful. Not directly, like, my work is very focused on the individual that I'm photographing, but I would say how I hold space and who I allow in my space is how that comes out in my work. So I'm here for my people, and that's the point I'm here.
Period.
I would say, it definitely has a heavy influence in my work, just in general, especially when it comes to the combination of photography and my casting directing. When I was always a kid, I just looked through magazines. I always wished I can see me, and I've always been always felt lonely growing up as a child. And it's just being bisexual or just kind of being confused, feeling everyone's telling me I have to pick one. So just I feel in general that has always made me have some sort of empathy and shape my empathy for the sitters and the subjects that I shoot in general, because we can really relate on certain things. So I definitely feel my sexuality definitely just helps the different stories that I tell, just my walk in life as a Black man. So
yeah, I agree with all of you guys. What you all are saying. It feels good when you can have that and hold the power in that as well. Because I feel for me, my sexuality definitely shows up in my work. Even with the pieces I premiered recently, it's just a part of the whole piece itself. It's a part of the process. Because I can't sit here and say I'm not gay on stage. I'm literally gay, So it's it'll show up in any kind of way. So yeah. So now we want to have a Q&A from the audience. If anyone has a question.
Okay, so people brought up imposter syndrome. You said we tell ourselves a lot of lies. Everybody who's been up here, I know all of y'all's work. So I think it's funny that we all kind of struggle with feeling confident within our shit, because we all have succeeded. I've seen it. So I feel I've talked about it, but I have a struggle with redefining what success looked like. So I wanted to know how do you guys feel about that? What is success for you guys? And is it outside of monetary gain and popularity, what does that look like for you guys?
Since we've chatted many times about this, but for me, success is when I accomplish something. If I say I want to do this shoot and I successfully do this shoot and the shoot is done and it's out, I'm successful. Where I am right now in my life, I'm successful. I'm doing exactly everything that I want to do. And I don't need eyes, I don't need likes, I don't need shares. I'm moving in my purpose, and that makes me successful. So.
I feel I feel when I think of success, it has changed over the course. I feel when I first started photography and casting directing, it was very much getting assignments, doing this with this company. Especially just being a Capricorn, I'm very much of a workaholic. But as I go on in my career paths, I really realized that being at peace and happiness is my version of success just in general, and just not having to worry about I'm worth this because I work with this company. I feel I'm worth this. Just really being content with myself and where I'm at in general.
Yeah. Honestly, these guys said it really well. I'm successful when I do complete a performance, and that anxiety or that stress or the excitement is done because we put it all on the stage. So that's when I feel successful. But I also feel successful in life when I just am actively giving myself grace. To your other part of the question. Just continuously giving yourself grace and just being kind to yourself, I think is success, because there is a lot of battles in this world. So just being active and understanding and present within the mind.
Yes. Heavy on giving yourself grace. I really relate to that. and it's important to keep affirming that for yourself too as we just navigate. I would say for success for me, it feels good when I can cross something off my list that I've been thinking about for like a long time, maybe months, years, days, but it's like something that has like never really left. So when I can cross it off and it's like, I feel like it's really completed, I'm like, okay, that feels good. And it's like a weight lifted off your shoulder too, because it's something creatively that had impact on you. So, yeah. Another question.
I have a question. How do you deal with criticism? Because I feel like when you put out work, it's like you're putting your baby out for the world to see, right? And in the age of social media, everyone has an opinion. It's like having a butthole. Everyone has one. And so when you put out that work and you get that criticism, how do you deal and combat negativity?
I definitely I like to think that I live in a real world. So like when it comes to like social media, for me, I kind of ignore a lot of negativity because I'm very much of a person. If you're not finna say it in my face, we don't have a problem. And I've always had that sort of energy about me, and I kind of keep that same sort of thing. The only time is when I look at social media is more for criticism, as in like, oh, I could have done this better, or I could do this, I could do that. But I never look at it where when it's a lot of negativity, I just really ignore it. Ignore, block, button, real simple. I don't care. Like we don't have to have a whole dialogue about it.
So you said, how do we deal with negativity? Just from
or just like criticism. Just being open and receptive to what people have to say about your work. It's there. You don't have to read the comments, but sometimes you do, and sometimes it can hurt. Despite, everyone likes to put on that armor and say, no, it doesn't affect me. But sometimes it really does. Or it can.
So, okay, if we're talking about online, honestly.
Just in general.
Oh, just in general.
Oh, you meant online. Okay.
I'm talking about just in general.
Okay.
Okay. So in general in life, I actually look for critiques. Like I'm going up to the choreographer and it's like, what can I have done better? Yeah. So I look for that. I have not been privy to anybody really talking mess in my face, so I don't really know how to deal with that. But for online, I can say like Sakani and I, we did the Scream video shoot like 2 years ago, I want to say.
It was very iconic too. Like it was so good.
It was really cute. And there was a lot of comments under there, but honestly very much paid it because I was actually laughing with them too. Like they was making jokes. Like I don't really take negativity online serious because y'all not really talking about anything. So,
like, let me see you do it.
None of that really reaches me because I genuinely don't care. I work my ass off, and if anybody has anything to say to me, I just don't even want to have that conversation. Nobody combs my work the way I comb my work. Nobody prepares my work the way I prepare my work. And I'm probably gonna go. And people who have been following me, y'all know I would delete all that stuff off Instagram in 2 seconds and be like, I'm back, rebranding. I can't show nobody your work is gone. Like, sorry, babe. It's not because for me. The work, if I decide to put it out, if I don't decide to put it out, it's when it's done, it's done. Yeah. And it has nothing to do with me at that point.
Right.
I love my work, you know what I'm saying? But by the time y'all see something I post that I've held on to for probably 8 months, I'm over it. Mm-hmm. Done. It has been far beyond me at this point. So, I don't internalize that, and especially because I went to college and we had critiques every day, every week. And those are things that were valuable. And you have to know what's valuable and who it's coming from and what you're digesting. Everything is not meant for you to intake. So I don't intake things that don't taste good to me. That's not my palate.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you guys are saying, but I'll also add, as an artist, there will always be someone that doesn't like or agree with what you have going on. And it's up to you to how you deal with that. Because everyone doesn't like what I do. Everyone won't like what you do. Everyone won't like what you do. Everyone won't like what you do. But that's just the nature of what it is and how we not like our artists. So that's just what it is. It doesn't really matter. It does matter sometimes. I'm lying to y'all. Because the podcast we've gotten a lot of some negative comments and we're just really nice people, but it's just we just be okay, this is crazy. How do how do we want to reply to this? And we just say no. Well, Sakani says no. Everyone else is like, oh, bitch, we about to respond right away. But yeah, it's just, I feel like it's just up to the person that is like dealing with it. So, but don't let it affect you as much.
I'm curious about moments in your art practice where you use your form just for yourself, personally. You know, there's like, for example, like a singer maybe. There's a time to make a song, to release to the world, to release to your family. There's a time to sing to yourself. I'm especially curious in photography and videography, as well as dance. Are there moments where you're just like, I need this art that I have in me to be purely therapeutic for me. I'm gonna be in my solitude, in my alone time, do this. What inspires that? What evokes that? And how does that affect you?
That's a good question.
Really good.
Need a second.
That's y'all.
I was gonna say, for me, I feel, as I said earlier, when it's something that I've been holding on to for such a long time, and it's the inspiration of that just to keep going with it and keep like discovering new parts of it and new ideas as I get older. Because as I said, some of the things you could be holding on to for years, and now I'm like I'm a more developed version of myself as far as creatively and what I want to do as far as a vision. And it feels good when you can release it because you finally crossed it off the list.
Yeah, I mean, I've simply just gone out to classes when I had a terrible day, just because I know it's gonna be an emotional release. Like I can release in that space, like if you just really give it, you know, put it all out there. But also, I dance in my mirror in my room. You know, it's just that's a moment of time, and like you really see your uniqueness in those moments too. So yeah, definitely give time to that.
I'm still, my wheels are like going. I will say I have cultivated a nice space to have the privilege to say no. So I don't do things that I don't want to do. So everything that I do, I want to do it, so I'm excited about it. So every photo shoot, every moment, I'm like, yes, like paid, unpaid, whatever. They're all treated the same and they all go through the same process. If it doesn't align with me, I can't subject myself to it. So I feel like that's where I find, you know, my excitement and that journey. And, you know, honestly, like I'm not big on, I'm so much living in my moments, I don't really think about capturing them. Like the only time I capture stuff is like when I'm booked, you know, doing my shoots, you know what I'm saying? But I'll pick up the camera every now and then and be like, right, because this is my friend who I haven't seen in 5 years, like we should take a selfie together. Marlon, wake up. But I don't think about it because I love just living in my moments, and I feel like that also allows me to pursue and keep going with my photography because it's not constantly, it's easy today, we can just pick up our iPhone, we got a point and shoot, somebody got a film camera, a Polaroid, we're surrounded by it, and I don't ever touch that outside of my studio. So living in my moments and living my life and also being able to say no whenever I want to say no.
So it's separating the two.
And not like on purpose, it's just I love a moment, you know.
I think for me, it has to do with more, I feel like I give myself so much when it comes to my photography, especially because of the type of stories that I'm creating for my community, that I kind of have taken it and looked at it like it's way bigger than me. So I've taken my emotions and a lot of things out of it, but now I've finally have gotten to the point being able to know like when I'm tired and like for that alone time, like this alone time is for me, no matter if it's like 15 minutes on set, no matter if it's 10 minutes, no matter if it's like for a whole day, like learning how to separate that actual alone time, because I feel like as creatives especially, we do so much giving, and like you don't realize until like the end of a shoot or at the end of the dance like how tired you are, and like besides the physical, but like how exhausted you are mentally. It's because you give so much of yourself. So I just think it's really important for me, especially just like to realize and separate the time. Like this is me time, and now this is like everybody else's time. Right? Oh yeah, I love that.
And to piggyback off of that, I don't know if there's any like dancers in the room or anything like that, but oh yes, hello. But also to piggyback, alone time within spaces that you're with the whole group. I partake in yoga and I really enjoy that. And that's time for just me, mindfulness, and to give back to myself. And so just separating from the group, taking your 10, 15 minutes to like really stretch and dig deep, and then coming back with everybody is also a way that I show up for myself.
Absolutely. Yeah. We have one more question.
Yes. I come from a West African tradition, and I wanted to know yourselves, at what point, what qualifications, experiences, and techniques do you think you need to have an understanding of to be a master at your work?
It's yelling at
Can you say just one more time? It was a loaded question. It was good.
No, it
I'm
was
really
good,
thinking. Like, I'm like, hold up.
Y'all gave them a hard question. They want to hear the question again.
No, just one more time.
What qualifications, experiences, and goals do you think you will have to reach to consider yourself a master at your work?
Okay. So for me, I think I'm always going to constantly be learning. Just in general, I'm always going to want to learn, because I feel like once you feel like you're a master, you don't have to learn anything. That's kind of like when the art dies and people retire, this, da, da, da. And for me, I just would never want that moment. So for me, I feel like I will always have moments of mastering obstacles, just mastering goals and things of that nature. But like, I will always be like a true student at heart, always like keep learning. Mm-hmm. So that's mine.
I would say, for me personally, that's not really a thought for me. Like, I just piggyback in. I know I'm going to continue to learn, and photography alone is such a huge universe, right? Like, to really call yourself a master of something, you know, which I've dabbled in quite a bit of different photography forms, but ultimately I feel like there's certain terminology that I stay away from associating myself with, because it's not for me to put on myself. If somebody sees that in me, then great. You know, if somebody calls me an artist, great. If somebody says I'm the master, that's cool. But I'm really just constantly making sure I do what I want to do and learn. You know, making sure that I know that I'm teachable and I don't know everything, and I don't know how long I'm going to be here to figure that out. So I'm doing the best that I can right now. I love my work. I love how I move in my work, and that's all I can really get to that.
I need that question again. But no, yeah, I agree with everybody else. Like, I'm not a master at anything. There's always something to be learned.
Yeah, right there.
To what you said, like, I'm not gonna just automatically assume like, oh, I'm the best at this or what may have you. But if a choreographer like says, oh no, you had it, oh no, you're a star, oh no, like just complimentary words, like you do feel, I guess, supported, like with the task that you're doing. So not a master, but like sometimes you get affirmations from other people when you don't have that whole space in your mind to like think that you are a master of anything. So yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave it at.
Yeah, I think we all hit it on the head. To be honest, like definitely continuously learning, and that'll like make you the master of learning at that point. I don't know, but it's just
master of learning.
Let it marinate.
I do want to add something really quick to that, because I just had a thought in regard to that question. There are people who are on the opposite end of these answers where they feel like they got it. And I feel like if you are not educating yourself properly, not just coming up and trying to get the bits and pieces from everybody, like, hey Marlon, like, let me just sit and stare at you all day and I'm gonna shoot just like you. And it's like, I don't mind showing anybody anything. Anybody that's asked me to show up at the studio, or how do I do this, how do that, I will come to the studio and assist, and I will show you, I will educate. But being willing to go out and get that information, and get those tools is something I feel a lot of people miss, and they expect to be where we are without doing that work. So I would say going out and educating yourself, going out and reading a book, reading a book, and read the book, check the book out, support the libraries, okay? Like, go and educate yourself and really get the information necessary. So I just want to add that in there as well.
Can I ask a follow-up? Oh, hold up!
Make it snappy. What's the follow-up there?
What is
Because y'all all kind of gave the same answer. That's like math. You're gonna keep.
I went
keep
first.
learning.
Period.
Yes. My question being, you all saying that you want to continue being students and that you're never a master. You just keep learning and you're waiting for a compliment. Well, then if you're never the master, then wait. Let me cook. If you're never the
Let him.
Okay, let her speak. And in the African tradition, master being synonymous to teacher. If you're never the teacher, then who are you going to have the students? Are you going to pass the information, or do you continue to be just the student? When have you reached the point where you feel that you have enough information to then pass to the next generation?
Next question.
That's, I guess, what I'm trying to ask.
Okay. With a leg cross. I would say that when that all comes naturally, like I feel like when you're doing what you're doing, you start to get people to come to you and they ask you questions. You know, that's not, I feel like, a position you sit yourself in. I feel like you will watch that all flow to you. And as you continue to move in your craft and you continue to book your things, you continue to work, that's when you have those moments. Right now, I could teach if I wanted to teach, you know, but I will forever be a student of my craft, always. And that goes for anybody I've learned from, anybody that I've taught things to. It should work both ways. There's not a professor that I've sat in front of that isn't still working on themselves in their craft. They will forever be students to the craft. And when it comes to artistry in general, you should always be a student. You should always want to move and bend like water and flow. You shouldn't be rigid and be like, I am the one, right? Like, there's one for me. That's my God. But nobody's the one for me. I like the girls. The girls are cute. I look at my people. I look at my peers. But we are all forever going to be students to what we dedicate our lives to. If you stop learning, you stop growing. And you can't give me anything after that. You will die. So that's just what it is.
And I also would just piggyback off of Marlon and say, especially in New York City, I think it's real easy for people to just pick up and become the teacher. Like, a lot of us have been in the works for years, so we wanted to do a beginner's class like you can, but not everybody's a teacher. Like, sometimes you didn't go through what you needed to go through to actually give back to any students. If you're a dance teacher, maybe you haven't been on stage, maybe you haven't been booked, like maybe you haven't done certain, maybe you don't have technique, maybe you don't have schooling, like maybe there's some things that you still have to learn before you can get in front of them, be the teacher. And not everybody's a teacher, like I said. And there's too many teachers right now. And therefore the students are not really learning because there's too many teachers. We need to just have our real teachers be present, be alive, be here, and so then the pupils know who they need to study under.
I got another. Do we have any more questions? Okay, yeah, one more. Yeah, Kelsey.
Okay, I was gonna ask, what artist, what celebrity inspires you as an artist that motivates you? Like, you see that artist and you're like, oh my God, I want to attain to be in that level.
Chris Brown. I love him down.
Period.
Yeah.
Why y'all? That was years ago. Let it go. It was years ago.
Chris Brown, I have on my list. Those are the people that I
I was gonna say that I feel for me it would be Ohad Naharin. He is a really amazing choreographer, and he always like pushes the boundary of his work. It's never the same work, like it's never the same work. Even when it's performed, it's always something different. And I always will strive to be on that level of like artistry as far as how dynamic he like sets things up, or even like the placement of a simple object and how the dancer or artist interacts with it, and it just makes the piece grand. Like all his work is amazing. I mean, it can be a little controversial, but it's also like pushing the boundary of what it is, and that's what I aspire to do with my work as well. Like just keep pushing the boundary.
I would definitely say Golden Parks. Definitely is like my like celebrity idol just in general. I think because he touched so many different people as a photographer and a filmmaker and everything. Just because for me it doesn't end for photography. It's photography and then directing and then film. So I just love how he was able to really touch so many different lives and also tell our stories and like what we were going through at that exact time, exact point in our lives as a culture. And something I definitely am doing and want to continue to do.
On the photography side, I have 3. So Gordon Parks, Irving Penn, and Carrie Mae Weems. Those are my people. Those are my 3. As a person that is constantly working and changing her craft and doing everything that she needs to do, Beyonce.
That was the loudest time I heard the whole discussion. Beyonce.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for coming, and thank you guys so much. You all are amazing and stunning artists, and follow them, Diamond, Marlon, and Kadar. I'm so sorry, I was like, but yeah, thank you guys so much.